Hey yogis, Kit Kat here. I just wanted to go through some of the stretches that I do in order to work into EPK. So if you saw the tutorial yesterday, we worked into Ekapada kundinyasana, or flying splits pose. And it's quite a challenging pose. So today we're just going to work through some of the hip opening stretches that I use in order to get back or to get into that shape. So let's come to downward facing dog. Plant the hands into the mat, tuck the toes under, lift the hips, press the heels, press the hands, spread the hands palms into the earth so that you've got nice space between all of the fingers. Lift the toes up off the mat and you can gently walk the feet out, finding a little bit of length in the hamstrings, and you can connect this action to breath. So the inhale, drawing the knee into the chest, and the exhale, pressing that heel into the mat, swapping it over to the other side. Inhale, lifting the heel, exhale, pressing it into the mat, maybe adjusting the feet and finding a little stillness here. Draw belly into the spine, drop head, and feel the release in the neck. Take a little bit of an inhale and lift. Well, take an inhale and a little lift with that right leg. As you exhale, bring the knee to the elbow and hold here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step back, downward facing dog. So a little bit of heat or tapas as we build into the core and arm strength. Inhale, lift the left leg, not too high, just enough to feel that opening and lengthening through the back body. As you exhale, bring the left knee to the left elbow and hold here for 4, lifting up through the shoulders, lifting the core, 2 and 1. Step back, downward facing dog. 2 breaths here, inhale and exhale. 1 more breath, belly to spine. Relax into the neck. Inhale and lift the right leg. Again, just to find some length through the front and back bodies. As you exhale, bring the knee to the elbow and hold here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step directly back to plank. And this time, bring the left knee to the elbow for 4, 3, 2, and we're going to step back to downward facing dog. And then we're going to reverse that and do it on the other side. So inhale the left leg high. Nice length through the front body, pressing the hands, palms, length through the back body. As you exhale, left knee to left elbow, pressing the hands, palms into the earth, lifting up out of the shoulders. See if you can draw that a little higher for 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's step back into plank. Right knee, right elbow for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step back, downward facing dog. Take 2 or 3 rounds of breath here. A little bit of movement. You can feel that heat, tapas building in the body. Release the head down, give the head a little bit of a shake. Inhale and lift the right leg. So we're keeping the hip fairly square here, lengthening through the back body. Press the hands, palms into the earth. We're going to bring the knee to the outside of the tricep. Trying to draw that knee a little closer to the shoulder. Step forward into this low lunge and just shifting forward and back a little bit. And I'd like to play in this space, opening up into the hips, finding a little bit of movement into the toes in the back. And ultimately, as we come into our Ekapada kundinyasana, we are going to look to shift that body weight forward. So it's giving you an idea of where the body might like to go into this space. You can drop the back left knee down to the earth, uncurl the toes, and come down for a lizard lunge. Elbows or forearms meet the earth. Inhale and lengthen the heart space. Lengthen the heart space. That sounds quite odd, but what we want to do, and it's just the idea or the concept of drawing the heart space forward. Finding length as the crown of the head draws away from the tailbone, and you can feel that elongation through the back body. Inhale, bring the hands back up, and we've got the right hand now quite close into this right foot. And I'm going to inhale and lift up for a little bit of a twist here. So I'm very much drawing at this point in time my right knee into my right shoulder. And as I exhale, deepening that twist. Release that hand back down to the earth and replace the left hand to where the right one was. And inhale and twist in the opposite direction. So still drawing that right knee in towards the midline and scissoring the hips back and finding that twist. Exhale and release. Plant the hands down, tuck the left toe, and from here we're going to lift. So you see that knee's already close to the shoulder. We're going to lift that knee up and step it back into plank. Lift up, downward facing dog. Holding here for 2 or 3 rounds of breath. We're going to repeat that on the other side. Inhale, lift the left leg and step forward into your low crescent lunge. So that foot's going to the outside of the left hand. And we're going to rock forward and back here, finding a little bit of movement, a little bit of opening into the hip. Rocking and rocking and rocking forward and back. Should feel quite groovy. Again, we're finding that length through the front body, because in our EPK we're going to want to draw the chest forward. So exploring that space here and feeling that also not only in the hips but in the wrist. Dropping the back knee down towards the earth, uncurling the toes and bringing the elbows and the forearms down to the mat if that's available for you. And you can already see that I've dropped down below where that knee is. Maybe it's just a work in progress for you today. Maybe you're here and it's just fun exploring the space and the shape. Still very much drawing that knee in towards the midline, scissoring that left hip back and feeling that opening. Coming up, my left hand placed next to my left foot, I'm going to explore that opening to the right, which is not, oh, I felt a lovely crack in the back then. Inhale and gaze towards that top hand. Exhale, release that down. Replace the right hand to where the left hand was, so it's nice and close to the foot. So there's a real opportunity here to open up into that twist. Keep trying to track that knee towards the midline in this first initial series of stretches, reaching up nice and high. Exhale, release the hands down. They're on the inside of the foot. We're going to tuck our back right toes. And just as we did on the other side, we're going to lift this left foot up off the floor and try and keep that knee in at the shoulder. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale here, 2 rounds of breath. We're going to lift the right leg and step forward, this time coming into kundinyasana. So bring the knee directly into the chest, gaze between the hands, and step that foot between your hands. Drop the back knee down. Uncurl the toes. Inhale and lift. Exhale, surrender down. So from here, I really want you to feel like you're drawing the belly in towards the spine. You have a lengthening through the back body. Gazing up towards the hands. And as you exhale, surrender a little lower into this space. Exhale the hands down to the mat, either side of that foot. Tuck the back toes. We're coming into half asana, so half splits pose. Drop the hips back to the heel and reach the hands as far forward as you can. So you've got a bit of an action in this right hip. It's pulling back towards the heel. My foot is flexed, toes coming back towards the nose. Looking beyond the toes and stretching forward here. Engage the belly, lengthen through the back body. Inhale, step it forward. Coming up, kundinyasana. Hands, palms, press here. Opening up the heart space just a little bit more. We're going to release the hands down to the earth. Step back, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Other side, lifting the left leg, finding length through the front and back bodies, pressing the hands into the mat. Exhale, knee to the chest, gaze between the hands. And you're going to step that left foot between the hands as you come down, drop that right knee. Uncurl the toes, inhale, lift up, kundinyasana. Gazing up towards the hands, belly to spine, lengthen through the back body, scissor the hips. Exhale, release back down to the mat. Take one more breath. That little surrender there. Float the hands down, tuck the back toes, half Hanumanasana. Send the hips back to the heel. And you might need to shuffle that front leg a little. I want you to think about pulling this back left hip towards the heel so you can square the hips. And this means that the hands are both reaching forward in equal measure, gazing beyond the toes, flexing the toes, feeling the stretch through the hamstring and the calf, maybe a little bit into the foot. Release the front foot, inhale, and come back up to Anjaneyasana this time. Press the hands, palms, draw belly to spine, lengthen up, lift the heart, and hips come down towards the earth. 2 more breaths here. Little bit of movement. Exhale, release, step back, downward facing dog. One more series of stretches either side, right and left, and then we're going to move into our EPK. Inhale, right leg lifts, the hips are square. Exhale, step that right foot outside of the right hand. This time you're going to turn the foot out to about 45 degrees. Drop back knee down and roll to the knife edge of that foot. This foot here, knife edge. This is our knife edge underneath. And if this isn't comfortable for you, feel free to stay with the foot flat and work on that space. This time we want to feel that knee drawing back. So I'm rolling over to my knife edge here. I'm going to bring my left hand underneath my chest and apply a little pressure to that outside right knee. So you can see I'm coming into a little bit of a twist here and giving myself a little bit more opening in the hip. Dropping down into this space, opening up through the right hip, lengthening through the back body. My belly is still drawing into the spine, so I've got that length through the lumbar spine here. Maybe even inhale, finding a little twist. Exhale and release. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, curl the toes and step up into your plank pose. Bring this knee, squeeze it into the shoulder, lift it back, step it back, swap it over. Left leg comes forward, turn it out 45 degrees, drop that back knee down, uncurl the toes. You might like to leave this foot flat and just explore the hip opening in this space, or you can roll that onto the knife edge and find a little extra stretch here, dropping the hips down, finding a little rotation, maybe a little movement, knowing where that's working for you today. You might like to inhale and find that deeper opening. And you can really open the heart space here and take that hand back beyond that normal reaching for the sky variation, but really feeling that opening here. Exhale, release the hands back down to the mat, tuck the toes at the back, bring that foot back to parallel. And we're going to lift this left knee into the shoulder, engage the core, press through the hands, step back into plank, exhale back, downward facing dog. So from here, coming into our EPK, our Ekapada kundinyasana, I'm going to lift my right leg into 3-legged dog, shift my body weight forward, my left elbow bends, my right knee bends, I find balance. I gaze forward and I lift. Exhale, release. Step back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg comes up. And go in the other direction. I'm going to shift my body weight forward into plank. Start to bend that left knee. Right elbow comes into the hip. And I start to lift. Right foot comes down, 3-legged dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. So this might be a super challenge for you at the moment. So come down onto the knees if that's the case. And think about, as you come down, these elbows are coming in towards the ribs. So it's like this little push-up position, and you're keeping that plank pose, but coming into that push-up space, keeping the heart forward. Where we want to go is the left elbow comes in towards the waist, and then the right knee comes up onto that platform that you've created. And this might be you today, you might not lift off. That's perfectly okay. Come back to that kneeling space and challenge on the other side. So bending in at the elbows, right elbow is going to come into the right ribs. Bending at the elbows, right elbow, right rib. Notice I haven't dropped the hips down to this side. So we really still want to keep sending the chest forward. So right elbow in to the hip, left elbow to the knee. Sorry, left knee to the elbow or to that little table. And maybe just hold here for a moment and then come back. Take a little break. Take a child's pose, or you can take a hero's pose, and then come back and try again. Oh. So Ekapada kundinyasana is about exploring courage and strength. In order to find courage and strength, it's not about, like, the actual outcome is fantastic if you get there and you have that experience of being in that shape. But like many of our yoga shapes, it's what we learn on the way there, what we undo, or what we create that's new, and what we find along the way. So it might not be that you find your EPK today, but it might be that you maybe lift the back toe up, or maybe your flexibility improved and you've got your knee up onto that ledge that you create with your arm. And that's about, this being a yogi explorer and going on that journey and finding stuff out about you on your rubber rectangle. Because the courage that you develop as you move through into that shape and forge new boundaries and explore new things, that's what's going to happen off the mat. It will unfold for you up there. So you challenged that current patterning and you've moved and shape-shifted, really. You've shifted that shape. So let's come back into our EPK one more time. So whether you're going to take the shape and try it just from tabletop here, or perhaps you're going to come in from downward facing dog through your three-legged dog and into your expression. Maybe you're going to extend that side leg into flying splits. Maybe you're just going to hold that shape. Yogi's choice, up to you wherever you are on the mat. So my first round, we're going to come in from tabletop. So I'm going to start to shift, elbow into my hip, lift my knees up off the earth, and bring my right knee to my right tricep. Gaze a little further forward. Maybe it's just a little lift of the toe here. Maybe you're feeling confident and you've engaged the glutes and you can lift up. Exhale, drop it back down, step back into plank. Just keep sending the heart space forward, just like you do in your Bakasana, crow pose or crane pose. Left side. So this time the right elbow's coming in towards the right rib. Lift up, bring left elbow to left tricep, gaze forward. Maybe a little bit of a lift here. Maybe it's a little gain to start with. Shift the body weight forward and eventually lift that leg. Exhale, release. Step back. Give the shoulders a little bit of a stretch. Give the arms a stretch. Drop the head. Hips to heels. And one last round. We're going to come in from downward facing dog. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips. And if you have the full expression of Ekapada kundinyasana, including the extension of that leg, you can give that a go now. Otherwise, wherever you're at is perfectly groovy for today. Inhale and lift the right leg. Gaze between the hands as you start to float into that space and find your flying splits pose. Exhale, press back up, downward facing dog. Coming out of the pose or the shape the way we went in. Swap it over. Let's see how I go on the other side. Inhale, lift. Exhale, shift the body weight forward. Find that little ledge and find that extension. Step it back. Three-legged dog. Exhale and release. So there we have it. A little bit bendy, a little bit stretchy, and a little bit strong. So wherever you're at in your EPK or Ekapada kundinyasana, don't give up on the shape. You don't have to do it every day either. You know, there's so many different shapes to explore in our yoga practice, when we're on our rubber rectangle. So wherever you're at in your practice, it's just exploring new things and being that yogi adventurer and finding out where the line in the sand is, that is where your fear is, and crossing that line, finding courage and having faith in the self that you've got this. I'll see you on the next tutorial. Namaste.